I'm Kobe.
And we have a very freaking special guest with us. Y'all know him if y'all really been rocking with us from the start. Mm-hmm. He was on our relationship podcast. Mm-hmm. He's also been on 2 of our live shows. And now he's back with us again, and we also talk about him a lot here. So
we've had 2 episodes about his shows.
Yeah, we had 2 episodes about his Live on Purpose show. We are talking about Robert Harper II. And just tell him a little bit about yourself.
Okay, all right. First of all, just appreciate you guys for having me on. I am Robert Harper II from Houston, Texas. I'm the youngest of 5 children, the youngest only boy. I just recently finished my first book. I'm a motivational speaker and minister as well. So that's a little bit about myself. So
yeah, so we're going to talk a little bit about his book, but we're really going to be talking about, dang, I forgot the word, spiritual hygiene. I was going to say warfare, but I was like, is that all?
Hey,
that
we need to go warfare too. That's part 2.
Right, exactly. But Kobe, our topic queen, came up with this one, and it came from a quote that really spoke to our souls.
Yes, it says, "We wash our hands, face, body, hair, but rarely our spirit. As a result, other people's anxiety, fear, negativity, trauma, and ill intent accumulate in us like bacteria, eventually overcoming our spirit's immune system. Spiritual hygiene is real. It can keep suffering away. Wash your spirit clean." This is Jaya John.
That's real, because you might wash your ass. But do you wash your spirit? Real talk. You feel me? Okay.
Oh, word. That's real, though.
It is.
Okay. Well, so I want to ask you guys, what do you guys feel like your spiritual hygiene is right now? Do y'all smell good like some roses, or y'all a little stink?
For me, I could say that life goes in cycles. So there will be moments I feel, well, if we're talking about currently, right now, I feel like my spiritual hygiene is good, And the reason why I say that is the new year. I've been in the mindset of really just trying to focus and channel my goals and write out my goals and make sure that, like, I'm coming into this new year, like 2020, I am here. Like, I'm here to come in with a purpose, and I'm here to, like, really fulfill my destiny. And so, I have been a huge part to do that. I have felt that I had to really, really align myself spiritually and really just, I think that's the bulk of it all, is when you really find yourself, I don't know, just really being aligned and one with God, because I personally feel like my will is not it doesn't compare to the will that God has for my life. And so I'm just like, the moment I just came into 2020, and funny story. So this just goes to show, like, how I feel like I'm really spiritually, like, light. I don't feel weighed down. I don't feel like I just feel like I unpacked my mental bags, my emotional bags, my spiritual bags. I've been trying to do house cleaning and just in that space of, like, reset. I'm ready. This is the beginning of the year. And so I'm trying to capitalize on that energy. So funny story at work yesterday, this whole week of work, I've been coming to work early, like,
come on,
very early. Like, I'm trying to set a precedent with God. Like, I'm really trying to be consistent and do, like, I don't know. I just feel, I don't know, this awakening. Just, I don't know. I prayed, I asked, and God, like, here, and I received. I feel like, so I one of my prayers was to be punctual. My goals was to be punctual, and so I've been coming to work early. Normally, what I would do, I would go to work. And I hope nobody from my work, especially my job, ain't listening. My boss ain't listening to this. My principal, this hope this never gets to you. But I would go to work, and I would come, and I like to meditate in the morning before I go in. And so we were supposed to clock in sign in at 8:05. So I would get there early, like around 7:45, but I would sit in my car until like 8, sometimes 8:05, and then I would walk in. And so now what I've been doing, I've been making this mental like declaration to myself, like, when you get to work, go in, like go in so you can start your day and like really get a head start on everything. If you want to meditate, you need to come in even earlier to meditate so that you can be out your car at 7:30, or don't stay in your car past 7:45. And so this girl, one of my coworkers that works there, when the English teacher, she parks next to me all the time, so she always sees me in my car and like, you what time is it? You've been in that car since you've been here, but you've been in your car since for 15 minutes now. And so this week she came to my classroom. She's like, I had to personally come to your classroom, Miss Charles, and commend you. I got here today at 7:30 and you were not in your car. And I was like, yep, I made a pact to like be in the building, and I'm starting my year off, and I can really say that it has changed the trajectory of my classroom, my students. Like, I feel like they're performing better. They're like, everything is way more organized, it's more crisp. It's not like I feel like I'm running around, I'm stressed trying to do this and do that. It's just like way more peaceful. I'm utilizing and maximizing my time. So to answer the question in a very, very drawn out way, I think I'm spiritually clean. I'm getting better and better in every aspect of my life every day. That's what I'm affirming.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. How about for y'all?
I was gonna say the opposite, because I feel really good, but the first day of work, I woke up late. Like, I woke up late and I went to work at like 30 minutes late. Because the thing was, that weekend before, like that Sunday, I found myself getting anxious about going back to work. So I'm like, work, all this turmoil that kind of like happens at work. Yes. But I told myself, like, Tiff, you better enjoy your Sunday. This was the day I went like skating and I was in the park. I was so happy. And I totally, like, real talk, I knew I had to go to work in the morning, but my mind was so at ease that I just woke up, like, I set my alarm or anything, and I got there late. And then the next day I got there like 10 minutes late. But then
she was getting adjusted.
But I was getting adjusted. But as the week went on, I was there on time. But this is what got me, like, I feel like my spiritual hygiene is well, because maybe like I'm very sensitive to, I feel like I could hear God better for some reason. Maybe because of our last podcast, we were talking about the power of silence. So it's been a lot of time where I've been very silent with myself driving, or, I'll make it a mission to like just listen. And so, what God was telling me, like deep in my stomach, was like, Tiff, you gotta change how you do things if you want to see results this year. Like, straight up, like, it's fine, you do the most, we know you do the most, but the most hasn't been good enough in the like past 3 years. It's good enough, but like, it's time for you to, like, for real,
be like strategic,
be very strategic, be very consistent. And so, I don't know, something in my like gut that was like, okay, stuff has got to change. So and that's just in like starting new projects. And I'm just so excited, because it's almost like I know exactly what I want to do in life, but it's so many big major things. I'm like, how am I going to do this? But then I was reminded last night that, like, it's not about you doing this. With one touch from God, you literally, miracles could happen around you. So, like, don't worry about, I know, Tiff, you have all these big dreams, but don't worry about how you're going to do this. Just know that if I'm there, one touch from me, one yes from me, one whatever, is on and popping. And I always have to remind myself of that. So, because if you don't, you'll stop. I'm like, should I really start this nonprofit right now? Well, you better start now, because 3 years later, you're going to be looking down the line. You're going to have kids. You're going to have a husband. And you probably won't be, like, focused on, might as well start now. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. And so I'm just in this space of, like, I really had a gut check literally yesterday. And I'm just like, okay, I'm listening. So I just feel like I'm very in tune right now with the Most High, and And you could get more in tune. Because you be fighting the flesh. Sometimes like you be fighting things.
Facts,
But
facts.
yeah, that's all I gotta say. We being real.
No, it was definitely the same for me, and that is why the quote, when I saw it, it resonated with me, because God was telling me the same thing. He was like, you got to get your life together. Like, I just felt like I know what God wants for me, like, and the trajectory is up here, but mine, like, where I'm living is like right here, and it's just slowly increasing. It's not where He wants it to be, and I don't know if it was just this. It's coming into a new decade, just so many things. I was just feeling like, okay, you know what? I have to just clean my space, clean my mind, clear my mind, and just start over, start fresh. And so that's why, I don't know if y'all follow me, but cleaned out my closet, I just like, I need to take care of what God has given me right now. Like, how's He gonna bless me with more if I can't even
that's
take
the
care
thing,
of the things that I have in front of me?
No, that's so real talk. Like you want to move out, but you ain't even taking care.
You want a house, but your space is
your small space
is chaotic.
That's a whole word.
Yeah. That's a whole word.
But more importantly, I think how you know that you kind of need a spiritual makeover is when you're just like exhausted, anxiety, stress. Like, these are not feelings that God wants for you. He wants you to be happy, peaceful, joyful, and that just wasn't my mood during these last 4 weeks.
For me personally, I feel like I'm in a good place right now, but I did a lot of self-reflecting, at the end of the year, and there's 2 words that kept popping out to me personally, and that was gratitude and patience.
Yes.
Just going into this new year. For me, I just turned 32, so this past year was like, okay, new year, new decade, 30, all the different changes that were coming about. So I'm like, okay, Lord, what are you really trying to tell me here, right? So patience and gratitude stuck out to me because as I was closing out this decade, I was like, this has been a decade. I remember exactly what I was doing in 2010. And so like, this is crazy, right? This is so, but also what came to my mind was that all the ups and downs, like the worries and the concerns and the stresses of life. And I was like God saw me through all of that, right? And so into this new decade, I'm just thinking to myself, like, okay, like, God's gonna take care of me. Like, I'm not going into this new decade worrying and stressing and all this kind of stuff like that, because a lot of stuff we look back on, we're like, hey, that was minuscule. That wasn't even important, right? So just appreciating the journey, being grateful for the ups and the downs, knowing that it's always like it's perfecting you, it's maturing you, it's developing you. So not getting so stressed out behind anything. That's why I like what Jazz said. She talked about, like, it's a journey. Like, in this phase of this journey of my life, I'm really feeling like, I have that spiritual hygiene is on point. For me, I think everything we've been saying is just basically 2 things. Like, first thing is just taking responsibility, right? Taking responsibility for your life. Like, this is my life, and if I want to have a better life in 2020, I have to take responsibility for it. And sometimes those small changes can, like, totally revolutionize your day, revolutionize your classroom, your family, your job, right? It may sound so simple, but it can, But for me, it's like, okay, even if it's small, I can't focus on it being small, because sometimes in our minds we think to ourselves, oh, it's small. That's a small change. Or I can, if you just got up 10 minutes earlier, you'll be on work every time. I have this little saying, I say, what's easy to do is also easy not to do. Yeah. So if you have in your mind, you say to yourself, okay, I just need to get up earlier and I'll be on time every day for work. Well, that sounds easy, but it's also easy not to do. It's easy to stay in the bed and to get extra sleep, So if you take responsibility for your life and say, man, I'm not looking for anything grand or big. Let me just make some small changes. Yeah. I want to make those small changes. You can see God work in those areas, in a major way. So,
yes. Something as simple as, like, making my bed. That has been something that I've been doing, and like it feels so good.
Yeah.
It
puts you in a good space.
It does.
And
You
even
feel
if
better
everything
about
is bad,
yourself.
you come home just to see that made up bed.
Yes,
You're
I'm
like, come on, man.
It's
Like,
refreshing. It's like, okay.
This bed is
Yes.
made.
Wow. I love that. And that's so crazy because Jarvis and I, we were literally just talking about this last night because he's reading this book called Slight Edge. And in the book he was literally saying the things that are easy to do are also easy not to do. And we were talking about it in the facts of compound interest. And he was like, compound interest is something that, you know, most people apply to investing. When you put your money in an investment account, over if you just invest a small amount of money over a long period of time, $20, and this is crazy, if you invested $10 a year, no, $10 a day since 2009, you would have $90,000.
Wow.
But you would have only invested $30,000. And that's just like small things can lead to huge habits. And he was saying that same thing can be applied in life. Right. I was like, okay, exactly what Robert was just saying. And he was like, compound interest with your dreams. If you every day work on your dreams for 10 minutes or 20 minutes, it will compound into something bigger or whatever the case may be. And I'm like, okay. And so you're going somewhere with this when you think of compound interest. And the reason why we don't do the little small things, because like you were saying, it's easy not to do them. But we literally just have to start and take the small steps until those small steps become larger steps. Like most times we're like, that's a big risk. How I'm going to start all of this? But it's the same way we started this podcast. We just took the small steps and was like, eventually we'll get somewhere. We started in Tiffany's guest bedroom in her brother's room, and then on a phone, on Facebook Live, and then eventually the small compound interest grew into us now having 6,000 plus followers every month. So it's just like it started off small. And then it will, if you keep doing the small things, it's gonna eventually get to greater things. You'll eventually get to where you want to be.
Creates momentum. You know, it creates that momentum where you're like, okay, even what you were talking about, Tiff, he was like, man, I want to do this, but I don't know how. I want to do this, but I don't know how. And that's what paralyzes a lot of people. It's like, man, I want to write this book. I want to go back to school. I want to start this job. But you can't see the how. Like, you don't see how it's going to work. And so, therefore, you just stop and you do nothing.
Right.
And so, but that's not any of our concern. Like you were talking about, like, God's going to open up a door. God concerns with the how. We just got to be obedient. You know, we just got to be obedient and walk through where he wants us to walk through and do the things he wants us to do. And we do that, people will start coming your way. You know, people who want to help you and bless you, and because you're on that path, and God will start directing you. And I believe momentum is big. Like, when things happen and you do something great, usually we want to just kind of sit down and like, okay, I'm going to be resting for a little bit. And so I was talking to a friend of mine on the phone, like New Year's Eve, right? Going into the new year. And they were like, because I was telling them about, you know, some things I was doing in my book, and they was like, man, just relax. It's a new year. I was like, no, like this is the time to put this is the time to put on the gas, because like if the momentum is flowing, if you're in the moment right now, like if things are going well, you don't know how long this moment is gonna last. So you got to keep going and keep rolling with the momentum and keep pushing ahead, keep being persistent, because if not, you're gonna like, I just did that one, task the other day, and let me sit and do nothing. But it's like, no, like keep going, keep walking in your gift, keep walking in your purpose, and God's gonna continue to bless that. Momentum is real. Like anybody, think about sports or anything like that, the league can be like maybe a small league, like 7 points. But if it was a momentum shift, it'll totally like knock out the other opponents. Like,
true.
Man, it's like
that's so
it's just only 7 points, but it was that momentum, and they got it now, and so it's like they're gonna go and take the game.
And I love that you said that, and I think it's because momentum breeds confidence. Because once you do something, in other words, it increases our faith every time. Sure. Like you have the faith, like, I did that. I shocked myself. I did this. Then it gives you that courage to like go a little step further. Yeah. But it's like if you, like you were saying, you sit back on that momentum and you don't act on it, that courage, you'll start dying down. Then you'll start feeling like then that's when the insecurities start to sink in, and the things like insecurities and you just feeling like you're not worthy of that thing, or you're not sure of yourself because you let the thing it's like you start to disconnect from what essentially made you believe and know who you were, and that you could go that step further. So it's like capitalize on that momentum. That's a word to myself that I really need to do, because we do want to rest, but think about it. It's like you're planting a seed and you're watering it. The seed is starting to grow, and then you stop the water. And then now it's like, how can the seed continue to grow? It was on the roll, you were doing it consistently, and then you just stopped it right when it was getting to its peak. And so it's like we have to keep pushing through and rolling with the momentum.
And it's like you also have to remind yourself of what you want and who you are, and being very truthful about it. Because like it was talking about washing yourselves of other people's anxieties and fears and stuff like that. So a lot of times we could put what other people want for their lives or our lives onto us, but we have to like, or even like settling for something that you really, really want, but that's not truly what you want.
Yes.
And when,
that's so good.
and what I mean by that is, okay, so let me say, there's this guy I really, 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 really like, right? You know, great person. Y'all know who he is, okay? And so, great person, but then I realized, like, he was showing me some intention. And I was like, I like this, but it wasn't the intention that deep down in my heart I really do want. So I might want this person because he's a great guy, I think the best of him and stuff like that, but the way he was treating me is not what I want in a husband. And so I came across this video on YouTube, and it was like how to make a guy value you, and I was like, I'm not about to watch this, but then something in my soul said, you need to watch this. I'm like, fine. It was the funniest thing ever, but it reminded me, like, wow, this person not even valuing me. You may want this person, but this person is not texting you back. This person called you over at late hours of the night. He doesn't value you as a person. And I was like, I don't want that. Like, real talk, I don't want that. So, also with washing yourself, just remind yourself, even wash yourself of the things that you think you want, but actually go back and think, wait, is that what I want for real in my life? Like really focus on those things. That way you can stay focused and make the little steps to you know, say no to going to someone's house, or say no to being disrespected or valued. Say no to the things that aren't going to get you to where you truly want to be. Like, I applaud Kobe because we going to Cancun and in February. She's like, y'all, you know, I have some goals I need to save. And we're like, you know, we want you to go, but that's good for you because you're saying no to the things. Like, you want to travel, but you want to be able to travel and not worry about bills, and stuff like that. And so it's just like, we have to be authentic with ourselves, truthful with ourselves, and wash away the things that like aren't good for us. Even though we might want it so bad, it might look good, but you gotta value yourself, boo boo.
That's good.
I love that. I love how you just really, that took a lot of self-discipline. Like, first and foremost, to really just pull yourself out of the situation, because so many times we go through things that we want and we chase after the thing that we want, and we, just because it feels good to us, well, it's like this superficial way of saying that it feels good to us because it's a very surface level. It's a very surface level. So it's like, yes, we really, well, I don't want to say superficial. I don't even know if that's even the word, because you genuinely want this thing. So it's a real desire for it.
Right.
But is the thing good for you?
Exactly.
Is it good for your mental well-being? Is it good for your values that you have set up for you as a person? Is it good for, you know, like you were saying, I know how I would want my family dynamic, how I would want my husband to treat me, how I would want, so think, and that goes with everything in life. When you are in a space and you find yourself wanting a certain thing, and that thing is not adding value to your life, or in this case, or it's not adding value to the dynamic of a relationship that you see yourself being in, then it's like we really have to step outside of this feel-good moment, our emotional being, because we think with our emotions, and our emotions say call and go and just be basket. If I'm being real, because I've been through that same situation, and I'm like, I know damn well this is not healthy for me, but why do I keep going back? And it's like, you're the only one that's gonna take charge of you going back, and you constantly going through that hurt, and you could be blocking your true blessing or your true destiny or your true person. But it's like we constantly living in we're constantly living in our emotional state. And our emotional state could be blinding us from the state that God wants to give us. And it's just that it applies on all levels. And I'm just so glad you shared that, because it made me just think like, wow.
Yeah, that's good too, because like it shows that you're very self-aware of like what you want, what you desire in this present moment right now, because most people are not very self-aware. You know, like what do you really want? You know, the enemy, the great, is often good, right? So it's like, this could be good for me. This could be good. I could settle for this, but I want this. You know, I want great. I want this as a family. I want this as a husband. I want this as my life. And I could settle for this, you know, and I might maybe learn to be happy with it, but it's not really what I want. It's not really what I desire. And if your faith is strong and you believe that God can do anything, you know, that's one of the things I've been trying to expand my mind on too. Is like, if we truly believe in God, I truly believe that God can do anything. That He is the creator of the universe, the beginning of time, the Alpha and Omega. Like, what is my situation? What is my problem? You know, what is this? You know, this situation. You know, so. But our faith limits us. You know, my faith limits, not God. You know, there was this passage like. I don't mean to preach too much.
No, please
do. But there's a passage where this particular guy in Mark, his son was sick, and he went to the disciples and he asked the disciples to heal my son, and the disciples couldn't do it, and so he got frustrated and angry and upset and really discouraged, and so then he goes to Jesus and he's like, Jesus, you know, if you can do anything, can you heal my son? You know, can you make my son well? And, you know, Jesus starts off with a question to him. He says, if you can believe. And so what I thought about that was that he put the if on Jesus, the creator of the world, the Alpha and Omega, you know, beginner and end, like he knows all things. But yet he said, because he was so discouraged of his circumstances. And sometimes we get discouraged because our circumstances, we already know, we got rejected or whatever. And so we get discouraged by those things, or people that supposed to be there for us but let us down, and so we get discouraged, and so now they come up with God, like, if you can do anything. And sometimes that's our prayer life, you know, we like, Lord, we become so defeated, we come so like Lord, you know, we come in that's the last resort, you know. It's like, so, and God's looking at us like, no, don't put the if on me, like put the if on you. If you can believe, you know, all things are possible to him who believes. And I think that's just a powerful thought, is that expand your mind. Don't limit God. You know, increase your faith. You know. So
wow.
Yeah, I had to sit with that one because I do that. I like God. I'm definitely guilty. I'm definitely guilty. But it seems like we're talking a lot about, you know, self-awareness, and that goes into your book. Talk to yourself. Like, through all these things, we have to talk to ourselves to like say, wait, is this what you want? Wait, I need to start waking up early. Wait, I shouldn't go here. Like, it's really like that self-reflection time. So tell us a little bit about how you, like, you know, you on the cover talking to yourself. Like, a lot of people be like, don't talk to yourself, you look crazy. But me, I be like, I talk to myself because I gotta talk. I gotta make sure I'm good.
Facts.
You know, so
talking to ourselves is something we do automatically. We already do it. You know? The book came about because it was just something that was like super just weighing on my heart. You know, I didn't plan to write a book at all. It was just something, these conversations I would have with different people, it just came about very organically. People would share with me their goals. They would be intimate goals, like things that would be vulnerable. Like, hey, I want to do this, I want to do this. And I could just literally see like the joy on their face thinking about what they wanted to do. And I would try to mirror that. I would like get excited, like, yeah. This is good. It's good stuff. And then all of a sudden they would insert this word that paralyzes us all. They would insert but, you know, and it was like, you know, I want to do this, this, and the other. And somewhere in this, in the dialogue, you know, they're saying what they want to have. They would say, but, you know, and I internally in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, like, man, because anything that comes after that but is what they truly believe. And so you say to yourself, okay, you know, I want to go back to school. And you start talking about school and getting your education and doing all these great things. But then you say, you know, but the kids are so small. The kids are so small right now. I don't have the time right now. And so you're affirming what you truly believe and what you truly want and what you truly think is possible for your life. Though you may want something, you're not acting upon it. So I thought about that. Why do we do that? How can we get those beliefs, those dreams, those ideas into the unconscious mind? Because that's truly what's going on, is that our unconscious mind is really directing our lives. You know, psychology says 95% of our behavior is based on our unconscious mind. And so I said to myself, how can we get those unconscious thoughts, you know, really rooted and affirming those things that we truly, truly want? So you talk to yourself is basically, you know, saying the right kind of things to yourself, you know, on a regular basis, whether it's relationships, whether it's taking responsibility for your life, whether that is, you know, going after a dream or seeing how God looks at me. There's so many different thoughts that we have that can be defeating, you know. We're working against ourselves. And if we interrupt that conversation, we replace those thoughts, you know, it can really change the trajectory of our lives. And so that's really, you know, why I wrote this book, because I know it benefit me, you know, just changing the like what I say to myself, you know, and it's so easy to do. It's so easy to do. You know, you think about the moments we could be on the road, you know, and driving, and like say you're late for work, right? So now you start making all these assumptions in your head, like people gonna think I'm not committed to my goal, you know, and that's what you say to yourself, right? Or people are gonna think that I'm a failure because I didn't finish on time for school or something like that. Or, you know, what are these thoughts that you have? We assume, we place blame, we overgeneralize, like all these different things on a regular basis. You know, you go on a date and a date didn't go well, and you say, you know, something, you start saying, man, what is it about me? What is it about? Why can't I ever find somebody that I can really? And so you're overgeneralizing, right? And so we do this on a regular basis. We talk to ourselves on a regular basis. It's just now changing the conversation, changing what's the dialogue you need to have with yourself on a regular basis, so that you can maintain the right spirit while you're going through this journey. You know, so really affirming those things that God wants to affirm in your life. You know, so. It's we do it so often we don't even realize that we're doing it. You know, so it's so important that you be intentional about talking to yourself. Even psychology says 80% of our thoughts. This tripped me out. 80% of our thoughts, our conscious thoughts, are negative.
Sure.
80% are negative. And it's like it's based on the no's we've received as children. It's based upon limited thinking. It's based upon, even we talked about before, you know, things that have been birthed to us, you know, based on, you know, negative experiences or bad conversations and generational curses, you know, just things that we think are just not possible for our lives because of our past history. And so we don't even see ourselves accomplishing those things. And so, you know, being intentional about talking to yourself is vital. You can't do anything without first having that conversation with yourself. And I thought about that too. I was like, you know, even if you want to get your spiritual hygiene in order, right? Before I go to God, I gotta tell myself, like, hey, get yourself together. You know, go read some more, go pray some more. You know, it's not that bad. Keep going. You got another day. You know what I mean? You got to have some type of conversation with yourself and give yourself some grace, some mercy, some patience. You know, so yeah, that's why I wrote this book. I feel like sometimes we can be really hard on ourselves. Yeah, so.
Yeah, we gotta put that book in the Soul Filling bookstore.
Yes,
Our live shows. You know, we love to give out books.
Yes, I totally agree with that. Though we really, really, really have to talk to ourselves. Because I was thinking, it made me think. I've always believed that. I really have, and I think you ladies know that's why we used in the Inspire Fire class the 24-24 rule.
Yeah,
was the 24 rule in short is every 24 seconds to always constantly check your thoughts, to think about what you're thinking about, because we can always find ourselves going through these rabbit holes that's spiraling down, like you were saying, you just simply being late for work, you'll start thinking, well, they not thinking I'm committed to my goals, and I'm not responsible, and instead, like when I'm late to work, I literally start affirming, as I'm on my way to work, like I'm gonna be there on time, everything gonna be great, it's gonna work out. And for some reason, like when I'm supposed to be like 30 minutes late, I don't know how, the traffic just, it seems to start clearing up. Like I just start being able to maneuver in lanes. It's just like a straight shot and I get there. I may still be late, but it's not as like late as I thought I was gonna be. Sure. It's like we have the power to change our circumstances with our thoughts. Sure. And scientifically proven, when you talk to yourself, before I even get there, when you talk to yourself, what you say to yourself matters. And on a scientific, chemical, molecular level, no, seriously, because we are about 70% of water.
Right.
And if we contain water, it in and of itself, the substance contain memory. And so literally your water holds memory. And so remember how we always talk about be careful what you say around your water, because when you're drinking your water, it's containing, that scientists did a study, and we talked about this on a previous podcast. In short, the study was they had they had two different water jugs in a controlled environment. They put one in one room, wrote on it with a label, said, "I hate you, water," and had people go in the room and say nasty, disturbing things to the water, like, "Water, you're dumb, I hate you, you're stupid, blah, blah, blah." And then in another room, they had, "I love you, water," and they had people say positive things to the water, like, "Water, I love you, you're great, you're amazing," and so forth and so on. Brought the water back, put it in the freezer, and tested it under microscopes. The water that, microscopes under the water that they said, "I hate you" to, it came out with these negative, like this really ugly, distorted image under the microscope. The water, however, that they were speaking life to, it came out as beautiful crystals that almost looked very identical to diamonds. And so it's just like the crystallization that's happening in us when we are speaking to ourselves. What are we saying to ourselves? And on top of that, the water has memory, and so you remember the things you tell yourself. Yeah. So if you're telling yourself negative things all the time, yourself have memory on that, and so it believes that is true. And so when you try to tell yourself something positive only one time, it's like, "Now I remember you've been telling me all these years that I was this, or I wasn't good enough, or I wasn't worthy, or I don't belong there, or I can never do this, or how can I achieve something like that? That's out of my reach." Like, when you constantly tell yourself, that's why it's so important when we talk about affirmations all the time, and like in prayer and speaking positive things over your life on a consistent basis, because it goes from, even sometimes, like you were saying, generations, those generational things that's been implanted in our family that we are just experiencing byproducts of. And just, so long story short, you have to really be conscious of what you tell yourself, because we hold memory, and then you really want to change. You want to be conscious to start the change somewhere. Yeah. And so when you do talk to yourself, that's that first initial step to take action.
For sure.
Definitely. It's just like when you talk to yourself, you just like that. Literally, what y'all were saying when you're driving late to work. Because that's literally what I was telling myself. Like, dang, you start off the new year wrong and stuff like that. But then I had to pray, literally. I'm like, no, you're going to be fine. Like, this being late, it does not define you. And so it's just like, and even at work, you know, if there's like a tense situation, or I come in a little anxious because I don't know how the day is going to unfold, you know, I talk to myself, but also talk to God to just pray over my day. Yes. To be like, Lord, let this be a good day. Like, give me peace. Let everybody be good. Like, let's just have a great day. And then automatically I'm reassured in my heart, like, peace is like surrounding me, and like, oh, I'm like, everything is good. So it's like when those negative thoughts come into your mind and you start to think negatively, we have to like remind ourselves about the power of prayer. It's like, okay, like I'm feeling this way, let me pray about it. And I don't know, praying about it just really puts my mind at ease. Because I know that it works, because I know my mom prayed over us, and I know how that worked for us. So it's just like, you know, we can use that tool as well.
Yes. Yeah. It reminds me of how you were saying that you have to really pray over your situation because you'll find yourself worrying. And so I always say that, and I found myself doing that, and I really have to like stop worrying, because the things that you worry about is like a prayer to God. Like you're praying for that thing to happen. If something's constantly on your mind and you're worrying about it, you're telling God that this is the situation, like you were saying, talking about belief. This is the situation you believe, you truly believe. Like after that that belief, that's what you're worrying about. Like I'm worrying, this that barrier that I constantly worry about that's keeping me from moving forward. And it makes me think about, there's this one scripture in the Bible, and it says, I'm not sure exactly where in the Bible it says, but it says, fret not, because it only leads to evil. And fret means worry. And so like when you think about the power of worry, it leads you to evil. Like I don't want to be evil, y'all. I want to be positive. You think you live your best life, but God said worrying leads you to evil. That's just like like
it reminds me of like like where like jealousy comes in and stuff like that. It's like, I'm worried this person's gonna take my job. Like I'm worried about other people. I don't know. And then that kind of makes you start acting weird. You start doing bad things to them, wishing bad things on them. But you know, we talked about that in another episode. I forgot what it was called. Anyways, but it just accumulates too much negativity, and I just feel like it's just, if we don't worry, then we're able to like produce more light. And that feels so much better. So it's either like, you were talking about momentum earlier. It's like the momentum could be a negative momentum, and you could go further and further and further down, or it could be a positive momentum, which bring you higher and higher up. And I want to tell you guys that also, like, success monetarily is not the same thing as success spiritually, because you could be wealthy and all those good things, but you could still be negative. You want to be happy and spiritually nourished and going at a frequency that is like light and successful and getting money. And so it's just like, I don't know where I'm going with this, but
no, what you're saying is good. And I thought about that on my way here. I was thinking about how many external things that we attach to our self-esteem, our worth, our value, right? And so that dictates what we say to ourselves. What's your worth like? What's your value? And so if your worth in your mind is dependent on external things, like my education, my level of my education, what's in my bank account, how many people like me, my popularity, these are external things. And so if your value or your worth is determined based on those things, you'll never say the right kind of things to yourself. You know, so you got to come back and say, okay, no, I'm worthy simply because I am here. You know, because I'm here, I have value. You know, I produce something. I can give, you know, great things, and I you know, sometimes you say to yourself, man, I'm worthless. You know, like why I have no value. There's nothing good about me, and that's overgeneralizing. But then you can say to yourself, okay, well, was there ever an opportunity that I took advantage of where I poured into somebody's life? And they benefited? And most likely you're gonna say yes. And so from that alone, you can say, I have worth, I have value, I've given something, I contributed to society in some kind of way. But sometimes we get in our thoughts and we think that because I don't have the education, I don't have the money, I don't have the spouse, I don't have the cost, whatever I want, and we think that limits our value and our worth, but it doesn't. You know, it doesn't at all. Like when God gives you all the validation you need by simply saying, hey, you're made in my image. You're made in my image. Like, you're a reflection of me, you know? So when I think about that, you know, especially my 20s, man, a lot of my 20s, like, I feel like I'm supposed to be at a certain place at a certain time. Like, and I feel like because I wasn't there, you know, something about me as a person just wouldn't sit right. You know, I would have anxiety, I would worry, I would be, you know, down or whatever. I'm like, no, like the moment I was born, the moment you were born, somebody looked at you and said, you're valuable, you're worthy. Your mother looked at you, your father looked at you, and somebody said, hey, your brother, your sister. And you didn't do anything. You know, it's like you are worthy simply because you're here. Yeah. Because you're here, your presence alone. And so there's so many other things too. But I just if we don't have a good perspective on ourselves, we dislike ourselves. There's so many different things that can be a snowball of negative thoughts and negative emotions and leads to negative behavior. Simply because we just don't like ourselves. Yeah. You know, not truly like ourselves. So yeah, we just gotta it's a journey. It's a journey. You know, one of the things that been coming to my mind lately is that by the mere fact that I'm here, God has equipped me with everything that I need. With everything that I need. You know, one time I had a speaking engagement and I was nervous. And I don't know why I was so nervous, but I was nervous. And usually it's this time in my career, like I don't get so much nervous. I get excited, but I was really nervous. And my pops came to me. He said, "Hey man, like this is what you do. Like this is like God has equipped you with everything that you need to be able to do what you do, right?" And so I said, "Okay." My nerves calmed down, and so this thought been coming to my mind recently. You know, thinking about this new decade is that I am complete, but I'm not completed.
What do you mean by that? Sorry.
No, I am complete, but I'm not complete. And what I mean by that is that I have all of the tools. God has equipped me with everything that I need in order to go on this journey that I'm on. And from a physical standpoint, what I mean by that is like you take a child, right? That's 10 years old. Or for me, for example, like when I was 10 years old, I didn't have a full grown beard, you know? I didn't have a mustache, right? Yeah, I didn't have that, right? When I was 10 years old, right?
I'll be worried.
I just didn't. But I had all the DNA, I had all the genetic structure that allowed me to be able, at one point in my journey, to be able to have a beard. And so sometimes if we are not careful, sometimes we got to understand that life comes in seasons. This in a journey. If we're not careful, that this is just not your season right now. But it doesn't mean that you're not capable of producing that thing right now. Okay. So just like as you keep going and you keep moving, you keep going on your journey, you keep being faithful, you keep being obedient, you keep growing, you keep developing. Guess what's going to happen? You're going to be exactly where you want to be. You're going to manifest the things that you desire in your life. But oftentimes we're hard on ourselves. We're 10 years old and we're upset that we don't have a beard. You know, we're upset we don't have a beard. It's like, no, if you just be patient, like the 10-year-old is not less valuable because he doesn't have a beard, you know? And sometimes there's certain things we just don't have right now.
And sometimes you don't want to have those things when you're at that time.
Yeah.
Because you don't know how to handle it.
You don't know how to do it. You don't know how to handle it. And that's the same thing. I remember, like, God, I know every man will agree to this. Like, when you want to get that peach fuzz, you 15, 16, you want to get that peach fuzz on your lip, and as soon as you get it, right, you gotta start shaving. You know, and then you gotta start shaving every day or every 2 days, whatever it is for you. So it's like, man, I remember the days I could just walk up and just get out the house. You know, now I gotta shave. I gotta make sure my line is straight. I gotta do this, that, and the other. So it's a responsibility. Like I told my nephew, just turned 17. I said 17 is a blessing, but it's also a responsibility. Every year is a blessing, but every year is a responsibility too. And so, like, even with that small thing with shaving, I wanted to have facial hair so bad, but now it's a responsibility. I got to take care of myself. I got to shave. I got to make sure I'm, whatever. But it may not be that season for you right now, but it doesn't take away from your worth. It doesn't take away from your value. God has equipped you with everything that you need right now to be able to produce the very thing that you're desiring for, you're praying for. You know, so that's why I say you're complete. You're equipped. You're complete, but you're just not completed. You're not completed. That's true. There's so much more for you to do and become. Yeah.
That's so good. I was like, I'm so tickled. But this just reminds me of like something my mom, she constantly, maybe like every year, she just comes up to me and says, Tiffany, I just don't want you to worry. And she always goes back to, she's like, because when I was your age, all I did was worry. And I think she could see, you see so much on social media. You be seeing people get killed out here, people get cheated on, people just all this crazy stuff, and it worries you. But then and I'm like a health freak, but also I like to eat good at the same time, and so I be thinking about like diseases and stuff like that. And so my mom's like, I used to worry about the same thing, because I'd be like, Mom, put that frishy chicken down. She's like happy, like, I'm good, I ain't worried about nothing. Like, I'm like, you know that meat could really lead to this and that. She's like, look, I need to tell you something. Don't worry. You don't spend your life worrying, because it's really just a waste of time. And I'm just like, I'm really kind of finally getting that through my head, because now when I have to remind myself that I am saved, and like literally saved, because like although all this stuff is going on in the world, we have to remind ourselves that we are protected, like we are covered. And when we're praying over ourselves, like the blood of Jesus is over us. And so those things, divorce might happen to other people, disease might happen to other people, all these horrible things may happen to other people, but you have to constantly pray over yourself and know that you are protected. And so you don't have to worry. And like you were saying, when you do worry, you start to attract those things. So and we don't be scared of the law of attraction and stuff like that, because God is bigger than all of that. But I don't know, I know in this new decade, I really do want to worry less and be intentional about being okay with the journey, being okay with not being in my winning season, even though this is our winning season. But we also have to realize, like, the lesser seasons, like when we in the valley, like that builds us up, like that's getting us prepared to flourish, to be able to withstand our success. So I don't know, I'm just very excited about 2020, and I'm glad we had this conversation, because it does make you reflect. 2020, we trying to get fine, finer, grow our hair long, make sure our teeth white, and make sure we get our goals in our career. We try and be entrepreneurs out here and stuff like that, but also making sure that at the end of the day, that spiritually you're well, you have a sound mind, and things of that nature, because it goes hand in hand. I really believe that, we're supposed to take care of our bodies and stuff like that, but we also need to take care of like our spirituality, because both of them are going to make us great. But
absolutely, one can't prosper without the other.
Exactly,
your soul can't prosper. You physically can't prosper in the world if you're I take that back. Some people out here prospering, but you want to, like we were talking about earlier, you want to prosper when your soul is prospering along with the monetary and the physical, because you will know that it's a gift from God. Because if it's not a gift from God, you're going to lose it anyway in a negative way. And so one thing I did want to touch on was how you were saying when it's not your season, when it's not our season, sometimes we feel pressed and we get stressed because we're looking at social media. We're looking at the way society tells us you need that car, you need the house, you're supposed to have 10 degrees at this point in time in your life, but you're supposed to have this amount of money in the bank account. And so, being honest, just you do kind of start to get down. But then that's why you have to talk to yourself to get yourself out of that space, to let yourself know that you are always worthy, and you not to get caught up in comparing yourself with the modern day society of what it says we are supposed to be. Because if we do, we may lose sight of what we even truly want and start buying into the concept of what society wants for us. And then you'll lose sight of what you even genuinely want for yourself. Like society says I'm supposed to be married and have this house, but you want to live in a condo, or you don't even want a big yard. It's like society says you're supposed to have 2 kids, but you really came from a big family and you want 5 kids. It's just like, we really have to talk to the only way you're going to know yourself is if you talk to yourself, have those conversations to see what yourself even enjoy or what yourself genuinely like. Because sometimes we might just ascribe to our circles, everybody in your friend circle like this particular thing, so you just buy into that one thing. So really, really like understanding ourselves and taking that time to really go into to alignment and connection so that we can know what we genuinely want and what God really more so wants for us.
Yeah. That's a beautiful thing. It's like the power of knowing of your individuality, because that's what makes everybody special. The fact that you like this type, I don't know why I'm thinking rings, but you like, because I know how all of our engagement rings look like. Anyway, but I know how yours look like, and I know how yours look like, and I know how I want mine to look like, and they're all very different. But I think we have to be okay with not being the same. The way us like being okay with us not wanting the same things, and like I like the fact that we're very aligned, and we think mostly the same, but I like know we're very different too. Like I know you're like very fancy, like the way you decorate and stuff is like very. But anyways, but we just have to be okay with like our individuality.
That's
No,
that's tough to do in a society that's always telling you to do something or trying to inundate you with their thoughts or their ways or their perspective. And so, like even a chapter in my book is called "Just Be Yourself," and I think that can be a challenge for sometimes for us. Just being ourselves, thinking, maybe you may be nervous for a job interview, and somebody just say, "Hey, just be yourself." You know what I mean? Get ready to go on a date, you're nervous a little bit, man. Just be yourself. And what does that even mean? What does that mean to be myself, right? And so to really appreciate what I bring to the table, my uniqueness, my talents, my abilities, and not comparing that to somebody else, and have them having and to have that what they do diminish my value or my worth. I think about somebody. You say a young lady who may be a stay-at-home mom, and she's a great mom, a great wife, and all this kind of thing. She does everything. She runs the house super well. But then somebody comes up to her and says, but in her mind, she doesn't see her own value, and she's comparing herself to a woman who may be an attorney. But look at her; she's an attorney. She wins all of her cases. She does this, that, and the other. Well, all I do is, it's like, no, don't diminish what you do. Like what you do and what you do, and you do it well. So don't diminish that. Like, no, I take pride in the fact that I stay at home with my kids. I'm nurturing and I'm cultivating. I'm planting these seeds. I'm growing them. I'm educating them. Like. Take value, take ownership of what you do and do it well, and not and say, hey, just because you succeeding doesn't mean that I'm not succeeding. Like you're winning, I'm winning. We all come together, and don't put people in your circle that will make you feel bad about yourself, because because you got to be aware of that too. Some people can kind of come off, oh, I'm this, and you're down here, and so don't even entertain people that are like that. Just say, hey, this is who I am. I know who I am, and just continue to move forward. Some of the most challenging moments in my life is when you're trying to pretend to be somebody else. When you're trying to, acquiesce or like say, hey, I'm going to be the version that you think that you're comfortable with. It's like, no, I'm going to be myself. I remember a story I tell in the book about a good friend of mine, and just being yourself. I have a good friend of mine, mentor, colleague, we work together. But he decided to go to Dubai and teach high school. And so it was radical. I was like, man, okay, do your thing, man. So took him and his wife, his kids, they went over to Dubai and he was teaching. And so during the holiday break, he came home and we saw each other. He said, hey man, let's get together during the break and we'll get some lunch, something like that. And so I said, cool. And so the thing about this mentor, this friend, is that I always bring a journal when I meet with him, because I know he's going to say something impactful, meaningful. Just I just want to jot it down. So we're talking, we're chopping it up. And so the first question I asked him, I said, man, how's teaching going in Dubai? And he said, oh man, it's going great. And I'm like, bro, like, how is it going great? And they don't even speak the same language as you. Like how's it going great? I don't get that. And he just looked at me, kind of got real calm with me. He said, Robert, man, I speak the language that I know. I speak the language that they know. I speak the language that we all know. That language is sincerity. I'm sincere. And he says, if you're going to be yourself, you have to be sincere. You have to be sincere in everything that you do. Be in the moment, be present. And when people know that you're sincere, they sense that, they feel that. You can also feel the opposite when people are not being sincere. It's just some type of vibe, energy that you get. Like, man, something about that person I don't really rock with, right? When people are sincere, they're pouring into you, they're being themselves. There's something about that endears you to them. that makes you want to be around that person. You know, and even if it may not be totally in alignment with your values and your core beliefs, but you know they're coming from a place of sincerity.
That's very true.
You know, so he said, man, you know, when you're trying to be yourself, be sincere. That's your number one asset in being yourself. Be sincere. You know what you want, know what your values are, know what you believe. And you go into a relationship, you go into that job, you go into whatever space you're in, you can be yourself.
Yeah.
You can be yourself. So, like, just understanding that, you know, just understanding, like, if I'm going to be myself, then it ain't about comparing, you know, and looking at everybody else and what they think I should be. You know, man, Jazz was with me at U of H. I feel like I should have been graduated a long time ago, you know, but if I had my thoughts, I'd be like, man, what are people going to think about me? What are people going to say this? And I was like, no, I'm not comparing myself to anybody else and what their journey. And it's so beautiful. And I asked my friend, I said, man, you know, you never asked me about when I was going to finish my degree. All these years we've been in. I said, why haven't you ever asked me that? He said, because your value and your worth was never dependent upon whether or not you got your degree or not. Like, I was like, man, you're doing something that's so impactful. You know, you found your gift, you found your purpose, you found your passion, and you're walking in that. He's like, you know how many people get a degree just so they won't go after their purpose, go after their passion, won't go after the things they really want? He said, you're doing it already. It says, so getting a degree is just a cherry on top for you. You're going to get it. He said, you're going to get it. And so that, man, when he said that, like, that blessed my whole spirit, because there were so many insecurities that I had based upon me not finishing at the time that I wanted to finish and how people felt about me. And as I closer I got to it, I just said, man, bump that. Forget what people think about me. I'm doing this. I learned a lot about myself that hey, I don't give up easily. You know, if I want something, I'm gonna go after it. I'm consistent. Hey, I learned a lot about me, so I would never take that time back away. You know, if I really want to go after something, that's my makeup. So yeah, don't compare yourself to somebody else. Don't spend the time or the energy thinking about what somebody else thinks about you. That's none of your business. Just be sincere. Know who you are. Know your values. Know your beliefs, and just be in that. Be dope. And then people will be like, "Oh man, that person dope. That person cool." And I'll rock with you because of the fact that you are comfortable in your own skin and you know who you are.
Right.
So,
when you are dope, you also have to understand you're not going to be everybody's cup of tea.
Come on.
So we go through life trying to appease people and living like under these constructs, and it's just like you don't even have to do that, because you're trying to live for everyone else. Just live for you. Be sincerely who you are, because you're gonna, and we talked about this all the time, you're gonna attract the people that love you for who you are. Truly. And believe what you believe is a great thing, and believe everything that you have to offer is amazing. But if you're not presenting that who you sincerely are, how can they fall in love with that?
No, that's true. I was listening to a podcast and it was saying you have to let go of what you want others to think about you. So like, you know, I like Instagram. I like everything to look very pretty and stuff like that. So it's like, I want people to view me as this healthy person, blah, 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 you know, always doing this, always doing that. But when you do something or post something, I always go back to what am I really doing? So I might post like a healthy smoothie bowl, but I'm going to let y'all know that I just had Chick-fil-A. Like, period. So I'm like, let's not get into it.
Chick-fil-A is blessed.
It really is.
It's sanctified. I firmly believe that, man.
Yeah, so you never have to put up a facade or you get down. Like, just remind yourself throughout the day when you're speaking, you start thinking like, I want them to think this of me. Like, no, you got to work hard at being yourself. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But we do want to go ahead and wrap up. So please, Robert, please tell them where they can get your book.
Okay, for sure. So you can go to my website, robertharper2.com. Check out the website. You can get the book there, or you can just go directly to Amazon. Type in Robert Harper. You can type in Talk to Yourself, and it'll pop right up.
Awesome. Y'all better get this book. Remind yourself to talk to yourself, because we talk about affirmations so much from day one. But throughout these episodes, you know that we have to remind ourselves of who we are and whose we are. For sure. You know, your favorite line. And so, so get that book so you could pick it up when you need to, put it back down, and pick it up a year later and read it again.
You mind if I share just one affirmation?
Oh, no, that's what we actually
we about to get into affirmations.
Okay,
yeah.
So that reminds us, what time is it?
It's affirmation time. It's affirmation time. It's affirmation time.
Y'all, this is your first time tuning in on the Soul Feeling Podcast. We always end our podcast with a positive affirmation. So if you don't know what an affirmation is a statement that you use to change your life. Either you're changing it for the good or you're changing it for the bad. In the Bible, it states, let the weak say, I am strong. So on those days when you're feeling weak, you need to speak your affirmations over your life. So I'm affirming that it's millions, billions, and trillions of y'all tuned in, and it's 3 of us, and we're gonna go ahead and 4 of us, sorry, and we're gonna go ahead and end this thing out with our positive affirmations. So who wanna go first?
I am happy.
I am having positive self-talk.
I am making small changes to grow my future.
Awesome. Okay, so this is an affirmation from one of the chapters of my book. It's on chapter 8. Just be yourself. And so so in the book, I'm talking to the reader, but also there's a point in every chapter where the reader's talking to themselves. And so after I finish talking, I say to them, say this to yourself. So everything is in first person now. And so this is one of the things, one of the affirmations. Say this to yourself. God created me for such a time as this. All that I was, all that I am, and all that I hope to become have value. I have great significance. My life is a testimony of the marvelous God I serve. I am truly humbled when I reflect on how God would use my unique life to minister into the lives of others. I will never allow someone or any situation to make me forget who I am, the values I believe in, and the person I'm striving to become. What I do now and how I see myself now can determine the quality of my life in the future. There is nothing about me that has disqualified me for the blessings that I desire. The negative opinions of another does not get to alter how I think, feel, and believe about myself. I will not be rattled in my spirit, stop what I'm doing, change my plans, or second guess my abilities because of the perspectives of another. I will be steadfast and unmovable concerning the promises God has placed within me. I will not shrink to a lower level to make those around me comfortable. I have been through too much, endured too long, and fought too hard to fully accept this version of myself. I will boldly and unapologetically display all of my gifts to the world in hopes that I inspire another individual enough to do the same. No more will I easily recognize the light within others while diminishing my own. I'm not interested in comparing myself to anyone else. I'm running my own race at my own pace. I'm more interested in discovering and displaying all that I can be. I will hold myself accountable. I will guard and honor all the good that is in me. I will only speak words that edify my soul. I won't allow myself nor anyone else to discredit the work that God has done with me. My hair, my skin, my nose, my size, my intelligence, my environment, my background, and my mistakes have all been factored into God's beautiful and glorious plan. I will not overcompensate for anything I don't have. I'm not lacking. I have all that I need. God saw fit that I have just enough for the assignment He has called me to do. The cure to all my insecurities can be found in one single statement. I am fearfully and wonderfully made. He has equipped me with everything I need to bring glory to Him and much good to others. The only thing I need to do is be myself.
Wow.
You want to cry on that one.
Imagine what your 2020 would be like if you read that every day.
That was good.
Wow.
That was good. All right. And hold up, I did want to say, you did a whole poem at he did a whole poem at the, what was y'all's event called?
It was called the session.
The session. He did a whole poem. It was so good. I was like, so you a poet? But let the people know where they can find you on social media platforms and things of that nature.
Okay, Instagram, Robert Harper II, the number 2. On Facebook, Robert Harper. On Twitter, Robert N. Harper II. So you can find me on any platform. Yeah.
Awesome. And so follow us on all of our platforms and please share this podcast And if you are listening to us on Apple Podcasts, give us a 5-star rating and write something nice and sweet because it helps our podcast go up in the rankings. We love you guys so much. Have an amazing rest of the whatever week, day, weekend.
Yes.
We love you guys.
Until next time, soulmates.
Bye.